the introductions and everything anyway.
You're very kind. Thank you.
That's okay. It's not a problem. And we'll just wait for people to come in. Okay, I can see people slowly ticking in. Hello. Hello, everyone joining. It just takes a few minutes just to get everyone to come in.
No problems.
But it was just, we don't usually start until about 5 past anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But welcome, people joining. I can see you coming on. A good afternoon now from a sunny London. Actually, we've got a lovely spring day here today, which is lovely. I'm just going to check all the functionality is working. If you want to, what's always quite nice for us to know while we just wait for people to join is if you want to pop in the chat where in the world you're joining us from. It's always nice to see. It also checks everything's working for us as well. Let's see if we get anyone letting us know where they are. There's always someone else that's in London. Oh, Jake's in Hertfordshire. I'm from Hertfordshire actually, so I was there this morning. The weather was nice and bright there, although I got completely soaked walking home yesterday. Hertfordshire didn't have such nice weather yesterday afternoon. I can see some other names in there. But I know the chat's working anyway, so let us know where you're joining us from, and we'll start in just a second. Everything looks like it's working okay. I've got my recording going, so we'll make a start. So just to say welcome to everyone. My name is Charlotte Burton. I'm the marketing manager for the School of Law, and today we've got a session for you, particularly about our competition law LLM that we have here at Queen Mary. So I've got my colleague here and one of our student ambassadors, which I'll allow to introduce themselves in a moment. But just to say before we start, if you have any questions, please feel free as we go along to pop them in the Q&A or the chat function that we've got here. We will have time at the end for questions, so please don't worry if we don't get to them as we're going through. We will answer them as we get to the end of the session. We'll have time for questions and answers. You've got myself here who can help with admissions and some program related questions. Shivani, our student ambassador, who can help with any questions as a current student. And then Iyad will, I'm sure, help with anything that's program related. So without further ado, Iyad, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Yes, sure. Thanks very much. And greetings, everyone. My name is Iyad Maher Daba, and I'm Professor of Competition Law here at Queen Mary. And I'm the Director of the LLM Specialism. And really, among me and Shivani here is the more important person because she is indeed a candidate on the program. So she's got like, the real world experience, the sincere, truthful, if you like, experience of what it's like to be on the program. The idea is to take you through the program a little bit, the LLM, and then we'll zoom in to talk about the competition law specialism. I do not intend to speak for long. I'll try to be as brief as I can, and because from experience, it's always much better to have as many of your questions as possible and then have a nice discussion on that. And I also would like to give Shivani the chance to tell you more about her own experience, and then I'm sure you will relate to that, a great deal. Obviously, I don't know much about you guys and where you come from and what kind of background you've had in competition law and policy. I assume probably we have a representation or a sample of what we have always every year, and that is people come to us with sometimes a great deal of experience in competition law and policies. Others come to us with ambitions to specialize in competition law, having maybe done competition law at an undergraduate level. And sometimes, frankly, we get cases or situations where the candidates maybe have zero experience in competition law and policy. And so what we aim, obviously to do is to make sure that, there is that good, suitable environment created for all. And I can tell you definitely, I mean, in terms of backgrounds, probably Shivani will give you more about this. You go into the classroom and you've got, goodness, so many nationalities represented in the classroom, and many, frankly, from countries where only a few years ago they had no competition law and policy at all. Yet things have turned around, because we do live in this world of a globalized competition enforcement, where competition matters, are at on the desks of so many people around the globe. So we'll give you perspective, obviously, on that as we go on. But I just want to start, first of all, by introducing Queen Mary, the School of Law, the LLM program, very briefly before we move on to talk about competition law specifically. So, Charlotte, if you could take us maybe to the first slide. Thank you. So, as you can see, this is one of our buildings, the one that you see clearly there, and the one that appears in metal, that is only the entrance to our second building, where I'm actually sitting at the moment. So we have got these two buildings on two different campuses, effectively. We have the School of Law building on the main Queen Mary campus and in Mile End. And we have this other building that you see there, which is located in Lincoln's Inn Fields, pretty much behind the Royal Courts of Justice, next to Holborn, next to Covent Garden, these lovely areas of London, and next to the Inns of Court, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with, including Lincoln's Inn, Middle Temple, Inner Temple, Gray's Inn. So you are really, if you like, nested very nicely there, being at the very heart, as you can see from the slide, of legal London. You do have, that I don't claim credit for this, but you do have some information in terms of navigation and the London Underground network, telling you which are the nearest tube stations. So they are there for you. So that is basically where we are in geographical terms. Obviously, your classes could be in that building that you see there at Lincoln's Inn Fields. They could be on the Mile End campus. And I think that in itself is fascinating, because you end up enjoying, I think, two different environments, frankly, when it comes to university life. The next slide that we have for you tells you a little bit about the ranking of Queen Mary and the School of Law. As you can see, we're very proud of, where we are, whether UK-wide or globally. And, things really, I can tell you, have been improving in terms of those rankings over the years, and especially in recent years. And, our ambitions do not stop by being just 7th in the UK in terms of the QS subject ranking, but rather, to be, even higher than that in the years to come. In terms of, faculty community and a little bit more about location, the slide there tells you a little bit about, our faculty. And I think, probably some of you have had the chance to visit our website. And when you do that, you could really see clearly that we have colleagues who are experts in their fields. And when we say experts, they have got international standing, not only national standing, very active in terms of research, in terms of advisory work, and in terms of really pushing the boundaries of their own specializations and fields, quite strongly. We are a research-led community. There is a great deal of emphasis on research at Queen Mary, and I think you will see this reflected in terms of the teaching, in terms of the experience that you will have on the LLM, and of course beyond. And of course, in terms of the location, we've already talked about that, and you know, you will have the benefit, as I said, of two different campuses, especially the Maryland campus with a great deal of facilities, but also in central London near Lincoln's Inn Fields, where you also have the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, what we refer to as the ILS, with its world-class library located there. As far as the LLM program itself is concerned, you know, a little bit about the format of the program. As you can see, in order to successfully complete the LLM program, you need to be taking and, you know, passing the necessary assessments in 180 credits. And that can mean if you intend to specialize, then you will have to take 120 credits in your specialist area, you know, whether that is competition law, banking, you know, finance, corporate, so on and so forth. And that could leave you, you know, either 30 or 60 credits in areas outside your specialism, because we are catering there for the optional dissertation, which I will say something about that. Of course, you know, some students, you know, they do opt for the general LLM, you know, as opposed to specializing, you know, and that is an absolutely fine choice for some people to take. In terms of module choice, and I can tell you, it is really a very impressive offering, as you can see, of over 200 modules. I joined Queen Mary about 23 years ago, 2001. And interestingly, the very first appointment I received at Queen Mary was immediately after I joined, was to become director of the LLM program, which I served until 2005. And I can tell you, during those years, you know, it was a very modest LLM program, very few modules. And look at where we are now, over 200 modules that you have got there. You've got a sample of, well, you know, those modules appearing there before you. But I really think it's the kind of situation where, you know, the LLM program has been transformed, not just at Queen Mary, but globally, from where you would struggle in the old days to find attractive modules, to find something to be able to make up your credit, to a situation where you really struggle because of the choice, and because everything seems to be very interesting and fascinating, and the usual impression that so many candidates develop every year, which is, I would love to do almost everything, but you know, I really can't, because I have to be limited in that respect. Now, the dissertation that I mentioned before, and you will see that on the next slide, is an option that we do have that carries 30 credits. It is an option that I personally would like to think is worthwhile. I know that not always candidates are keen on you know, doing a dissertation, but I can tell you from my own personal experience, when I did my LLM in the 1990s, I was particularly fascinated by the dissertation, which was optional at that time, and you know, hardly anybody did it. And I felt, you know, that this was a great opportunity for me, and genuinely I speak from a personal experience, not just to engage in research, but rather to develop very important skills that I can tell you today in my capacity as both a practitioner, where I advise governments and companies and I handle actual cases, and in a capacity as a judge, being a member of the UK Competition Appeal Tribunal, where we are talking about skills that you do need in practice. So there is, maybe that is probably the right expression to use, is stigma when it comes to the dissertation, as if people who do dissertations are just the academic people. That's not true. As a practitioner, you could be sitting in a law firm, you could be handling, the biggest competition cases around. You do engage in research. You have to research your question. You have to research, the law. You have to draft. You have to produce something in writing. Those skills, you can develop them in your dissertation, plus the fact, and for me, a very important fact indeed, plus the fact that if you do a fantastic dissertation, this could be a candidate piece of work for publication. And so think about it, you complete your LLM and then you are publishing your dissertation as an article. And what a very nice thing to add to your CV to enhance your chances in terms of, job prospects, or in terms of exposure, so that people get to know your name and your work. So I would always strongly encourage candidates to consider the dissertation option, because it does give you that fantastic opportunity to develop your skills and to really enhance your profile over all. That's in terms of the dissertation. With all of that said, I would like to move to talk a little bit about the LLM in competition law. Now, I'm proud to say that, when it comes to the LLM program in competition law, that we do have a world-class a program. It's been in existence, as you can see, for over 20 years. One of the oldest, if not really the oldest or the first such a specialism in the UK and around the world. And it is the kind of program that has been designed and built and is delivered, but I will leave more for Shivani to talk about her personal experience, delivered in a way that is not, if you like, theoretical or purely academic, but rather practical in orientation, because I personally and my colleagues have got, very important goal and objective, which is, if you are intending to specialize in competition law, for you to be prepared for that. And if you are already in the field, for your experience and career prospects, etc., to be enhanced. And so, as I mentioned before, we do get candidates from different backgrounds. I think this year, and again, Shivani maybe have had the chance to interact with some of her existing and current friends. We do have people from competition authorities around the world doing the LLM as we speak, people from law firms, people who have just graduated from different universities around the world with an undergraduate degree, or people who already have the LLM from elsewhere and would like to specialize. And so we cater for the needs of everybody in this case to prepare for a successful career in practice, in the law firms, in enforcement, at competition authorities, international organizations, or, frankly, academia. And it doesn't matter, whether you have had that kind of experience in competition law or not, because, as I said in the past, we've had candidates who came to us with no experience in competition law. And I always like to use an example of a candidate that we had in recent times, and over, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, with the name of Denny from Croatia. He came to us, and his experience was with an interest in human rights. He did the induction, and suddenly he switched from human rights to competition law, and he did the LLM in competition law, and now he is an official at the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, and he qualified as a solicitor with experience in competition law and policy. So that just to give you a very, if you like, live and, actual example of, what kind of, if you like, outlook we have here. The program itself covers all dimensions of competition law and policy. So there is the domestic dimension. By that we mean that the competition rules of different regimes are assessed and examined. So that includes the UK, the EU, the US, and suitable settings and modules. We have the regional, being primarily the EU, and we have the international dimension with a number of modules that we have, having that kind of international dimension, as I will explain in a moment. The components are both practical or practice-oriented and policy-oriented. So some modules, they have got, the pure practical practice-oriented approach. So that means you're being taught exactly what the law is in practice, not so much what the law is in the book. Whereas in other modules, you are taught, if you like, the topics with a policy orientation, because there is a very important policy dimension to competition law. So it's important to note again that when we say policy, we're not talking about purely academic stuff. Again, practitioners deal with policy. It's very important that you tailor your advice in practice per the policy that might exist in different regimes. Now, on the next slide, you will see a flavor of the different modules that we have on offer. As you can see, fairly comprehensive offering, topics that cover or that extend to merger control, to international competition law, to comparative competition law, to competition law in a high-tech or digital era, to the economics of competition law, cartels, enforcement, sanctions, state aid, EU, competition and IP as well. So, as I said, we're very proud that we've got, this kind of offering, plus, of course, the dissertation option, which gives you the chance to then, choose, if you like, a topic or a question that can even enhance your global reach as far as your LLM is concerned. And that can be maybe a topic that extends to your own country, to your own jurisdiction. And I can't tell you over the years, for example, we never taught say competition law and policy in India as part of the modules. Yet, India has been making, phenomenal progress in the field of competition law and policy globally. And I think, tens of dissertations over the years that I've supervised, have focused on, competition law and policy in India, rightly so. There is no doubt about that. But just again, to give you an example of how you can still, extend that menu that you have there before you on the slide even further because of the dissertation option. In terms of the teaching of the module on the next slide, you will see, as I said, very highly practice-oriented. There is a suitable academic perspective that is offered in some places, because sometimes there is a theoretical setting to competition law and policy, which is important to emphasize. We try as much as possible to give candidates access to the real world, if you like, of enforcement and the practice. So a flavor from just this year, for example, we've just had a very successful visit to the UK Competition Appeal Tribunal. We had about 30 students of our students visiting the tribunal, and they were met by some of the leadership at the tribunal. They sat, as it happened, in one of the courts where proceedings were taking place. So they saw, if you like, competition law in action. And a fascinating setting at the time was a cross-examination in one of the cases. So I think, we try as much as possible to ensure that there is that kind of access. We've had also, again, just to give you a flavor of what we've had this year, a career event with a leading practitioner, somebody with a great deal of experience at law firms, including Baker, McKinsey, Gleiss, Lutz in Germany, and at the moment in Latham and Watkins, who came in, spoke to our students and shared, his own experience, with candidates and how his career developed. So the idea, as I said, is to really see competition law in action and to relate basically to real world scenarios and situations. Now, that's what I wanted to say on the program. As I said, we will shortly hand over to Shivani to tell you a bit more about her own experience with the program. And then, of course, we'll have, questions and answers, whether just on the competition law program or the LLM program as well. But before I conclude, I just wanted to take you through other things, not competition focused, but LLM focused. On the next slide, just to tell you about, the various institutions and centers or institutes and centers that we have at Queen Mary, in different fields. And as far as competition is concerned, we have our Institute for Competition and Consumers, the ICC, that appears there before you, and so many more, in the sense that pretty much every area that you can think of is covered by way of a research center activity or reach at Queen Mary. Useful links on the next slide. You will hopefully find them helpful about, web pages of alumni, social networks, as you can see, national chapters, testimonials. So I hope, you will have the chance to double click on these or some of them, and read a little bit about the interesting stuff that is there. In terms of key contacts, just to introduce in absentia the directors of the LLM program, my colleague, Professor Anne Flanagan, and my colleague, Dr. Shalini Pereira. Their emails are there if you would like to reach out to them. We have an open door policy, so you can reach to anybody and everybody, really. There is the postgraduate law office. Again, the email address is there. So do please feel free, if you have got a query, to get in touch. Also, I don't know if you would allow me that, Charlotte, with myself, again, you're very welcome to reach to us. And you've got, the fantastic world of social networking. As you can see there, we are everywhere, including, on Instagram and TikTok. So I think we'll conclude with that, and to say thank you very much for your attention. And I will now hand over to Shivani to tell you about, her own experience, and we will have questions and answers after that. So Shivani, over to you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session for competition law at Queen Mary today. So I'm Shivani, and I'm pursuing my master's in competition law at Queen Mary. Also, I'm working as a student ambassador for the CCLS campus. So today I will just share my insights on how competition law at Queen Mary. So I expect like most of you all are like international students who come from different backgrounds, different places and all that. So the first question as an international students we have is how the degree is going to be, how the life at university is going to be. So I can assure you that like life at Queen Mary is so much hassle-free. So you are guided at each and every step. So the academics, and be it your personal health, professionalisms and all that. So you are backed up by the university. You are monitored by the university. So then if we are specifically coming to the competition law as a course, competition law is having very broad prospects. you will, especially the taught modules are divided in a way that you will get like a lot of opportunity to learn about the subject. It's not necessary that you need to have a background of competition law, because if I share about my personal experience, I have very limited experience in competition law because uh, again, like as the professor said previously, like I'm from India, so competition law in India is not advanced. Even till today, we are following the limited traditional laws which are set for the competition. So they are being developed right now. So the reason why I choose for the competition law is because I have worked for mergers and acquisitions, and it's not necessary that we all have the background in the field. I have my fellow students who are like the undergraduates who just freshly came to pursue their masters and who are like already working in the competition domain, who are from Turkey, Paris, and they have like a well amount of like professional experience. So you're sitting in a class where like you have all the backgrounds of students. So the modules are set in a way that each and every students are able to understand the subject, and the lectures are divided into tutorials and the lectures groups, and as a whole you will be able to understand the one-to-one interactions with the faculty, and faculty are available for you always to support you. And coming to the database of the library is quite huge, and you will get the very good database. Be it any doubt in the subject, you are able to access at any point of the time. And then if people are interested in the research, because like we always want to do the research, or like if you want to continue with your further studies, be it PhD or anything as such, CC, the Queen Mary is also offering you the research in competition and policy, that is ICC, the Institute of Competition and Consumers. So that is specifically designed for the research in competition. If anyone are particularly interested in the research, then that is a very good opportunity. And being a student at competition law, I got to learn how broad the competition is, how the commission works for the competition in the domain of European Commission or the different jurisdictions in the world. Earlier, I have very limited knowledge on the subject, but throughout the journey, like it's been like 7 8 months that I'm pursuing, and at the same time I'm learning from my own professional experience, that you get the very good internship opportunities and all that. So from that experience, competition is definitely a subject where like everyone is able to understand even without any necessary background in the field. And then coming to the opportunities, what the university is providing to the competition students or any of the LLM students who are pursuing, or the prospective students who are coming up. Very recently, I have came across the research assistance opportunities, which was provided by the university, as few of our lecturers are providing with the research assistant posts, as they are publishing their books in competition and economics of competition law. So students are more welcome to participate in such kind of programs and learn about the competition, because competition is not limited. It is very broad. It is into economics, it is into data protection, it is into intellectual property. So you have very broad chapters under that where you will learn about. So based on that, like you'll have the opportunities. And if you want something to be worked on, the specific competition markets, then UK CMA, that is Competition Market Authority, is having very good opportunities after your competition law specialization. So Queen Mary offering in competition law is very particularly designed, and the subjects you are choosing, the modules you are going to choose in the duration of your course are very particular, and it gives you a very good insights on the competition law. Then coming to like the how the competition law will work out in each and every jurisdiction, because a few of my fellow colleagues who are like who don't have competition law developed in their country, because when we are talking about Nigeria and all these countries where competition law is not fully developed, So the interaction with them and learning how the competition law is going to be assessed in their countries, how they are implementing the competition law which they are learning right now, and taking back that knowledge to the back home and working on that. So sharing all that knowledge with your fellow students will be very good insights for you, like get to know all over the jurisdictions of the world how the competition law is working. It's not only about the competition, it's about like all the backgrounds, all the specializations you are choosing, and how they are working in the different jurisdictions, and what are the opportunities you have, and how you are building that kind of specialization. And the main background for the international students is that whether to have a relevant background or the relevant experience in this particular course. I would suggest it's not mandatory that you have the relevant background or the relevant experience for this. Even if you are a freshly undergraduate, you can still perceive the course, because like you're able to understand the course in each and every step. And if you're having a work experience in the competition domain, then that is a very good opportunity for you, that you can develop the knowledge more in the field. And then comparing with how the course will go and how the course will help you throughout your journey, is that the course is designed in a way that it details about the subject. So even throughout your journey, you will be learning about like all the specific modules like which you are choosing, and all the modules like which you are going to learn. And there are, and also it is equally responsible for us students to involve in the university activities and the functions. So at the same time, competition law is all be it CCLS campus is also having the competition opportunities, such as the research, especially the research one. And so working on dissertation, like dissertation is it's not like everyone will be dealing with the dissertation. So for few of the courses it is mandatory, and few of the courses it's optional. So doing the dissertation and the research on the dissertation is stressful. So that's the major concern when we are coming as a master's student. So multitasking, time management, all that will be, because we are having the deadlines for the assignments and your dissertations will be coming up. So that's a stressful environment. So I would suggest to on the dissertation that, first of all, dissertation is not difficult. That's my personal observation. That's my personal observation. I would prefer dissertation, because dissertation is so beneficial that it is a showcase for your research. So it is a very good platform if you want to pursue your further studies in a PhD, or if you want to learn more about the competition or any specialization you are choosing. So it gives you that in-depth knowledge in the subject specified and in-depth knowledge in your field. So the research you are building and the work you are doing on your dissertation is very valuable. So working on dissertation, and it is easy because you're dealing with your professors, and they will support you, they will guide you. You have enough database from the university, and you will explore more in that specific subject. So and you have, it's not like you will be having the deadlines, but it's not like at the neck of the moment. You have enough time to prepare for yourself. You have enough schedules to decide on like what you're going to do for your research. So the research is very beneficial for your CV or for your future, especially and then coming to the course essays, and all the assignments which are designed in the Queen Mary are very flexible. It's student friendly, and the faculty are available for you to support you and give you the feedback on how good like your research is going on. So that is a very fantastic way how I really picked up on my research, because initially even I struggled with my research. So especially with the background, like I never did my research back in my undergraduation. So it's always the practical exams and all that we have deal with. So research and citations, these things are the initial issues which I faced as a student in masters. But later on I slowly picked up with the help of faculties and with the help of the libraries and all the sources I got from the university. I slowly picked up for my dissertation, and right now I'm ready for my research. So this is all about the competition law at Queen Mary, and as a general student life at Queen Mary, it's very flexible. And if you all have any questions, I'm very happy to take it.
Thank you, Shivani. What a detailed and full answer. I think you would have covered a lot of the questions that people have asked, even with just your experience there. I think it's worth highlighting for everyone when it comes to module selection. In your induction week, you'll get a chance to have a look at the modules and make the decisions then, and you'll have a chance to hear more about them and be guided through that for the first couple of weeks while you're in the induction. So a lot of people feel a bit daunted by that in the beginning, particularly when they've got a lot of choice there and a lot that they would like to do. But you'll be guided through that when it comes to September induction. We haven't actually got any questions, which I'm very surprised about. Normally we have lots of questions come flooding in, but if we haven't, I feel like it's obviously because we've explained everything so lovely and clearly, I'm sure. Shivani, probably one that I think is a nice one to answer, I suppose, if people aren't here and it can kind of finish us off, is if you have like any advice for people kind of coming in and how to make the most of their LLM, would be nice to share.
Well, the people who are coming in, the most to make out of LLM is to understand your subject, understand how you're going to process the study time, how it's like just plan it according to how you're going to finish the subject, and what all the expectations you have on the subject, and what all the outcomes you are expecting from the subject. So if you plan it earlier, like before enrolling into the course, or you have an idea that how you want your outcomes to be from the course, based on that, I would personally suggest to work on with university support to how we can find a good opportunities, or how we can improve ourselves in that kind of outcomes to have the better results.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, just to check, Jake's asked in the chat if the dissertation is mandatory for competition law.
Yes, it is.
I thought so.
Yes.
On some programs, it's optional, which is why in the outline it's kind of showed as optional, but for competition law, it's mandatory and a good opportunity, I think.
It is. Just to say that if this fact upsets you in any way, I claim no responsibility for that decision to make it mandatory. So.
I think it's I always hear from students that they feel very well guided by their dissertation supervisor when they're doing it. Oh, he's excited about it. That's good.
Yes. We also
that's
have
really good.
different meetings with the dissertation professors. We also conduct the sessions with the professors. So that's what guides us throughout the dissertation journey. It's not like we are just struggling with the research. They'll support you with the journey, and they will give you the feedbacks, the improvements, or any kind of help from the faculty side.
Brilliant. Okay, lovely. Well, we don't seem to have any more questions, so I'll happily finish up early just to give everyone some time back. Just to say, if you have any questions that come up after this, please feel free. The PG Law Inquiries email address that you can see on screen right now will come through to myself and my colleagues. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. We're more than happy to support and put you in touch with anyone that might be able to help, whether that's Shivani or another student ambassador that might be able to assist. Thank you very much, Shivani and Iyad, for your time today. It's so appreciated to have you here. So thank you very much, everyone. This session has been recorded, so I will share it and send it out to everybody. As I said, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch. But I will wish everyone a lovely rest of their day and sign off from here. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks, Charlotte. Thanks, Shivani. It might be worth checking, Charlotte, whether anybody has any questions. I mean, in case if they want to come in.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be there. Someone said thank you, but we've given some time. So, but if they want to come through, please do let us know.
Of course. Thanks, everybody.
Best wishes.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.